Good morning. Getting round the calves. Just feeding the big man, and Lulu's having a mill about with the cows. One bale of bedding, and then that's everything done at this yard. So this is the yard. We'd like to get a shed put up, and it involves demolishing all of that and all of this. That'll keep these ones happy. Plows, we've got a Caverland demo coming, and possibly a Coon or a New Holland. I could car deal on both of them. We'll see what comes of that. Kev is grabbing the wood splitter this morning, which is just, I might be able to zoom in, hold on. Yard 3, you might be able to see the fence. They go right in the middle of the screen. See it? White roof. I've got the chainsaw here, my brother was using it here. We'll get home. There's a few things to sort out, and then we might get round to cutting up a few boxes of logs. There's probably a week's worth of log chopping to do. Get my coos squared up, they're needing bedded. Dad's already fed them, and their feeders are needing filled up with ammonia straw as well. The rain we've had recently, it's just miserable. Miserable. Predictions, when I drop this, the top bale going to fall off. You know what would be nice is a straw blower. Can't justify it for 40 cows. Maybe in the future if we get the numbers up. It keeps them calm though. Straw blower it basically means you're not in amongst them all the time. When I'm rolling out the bales, I have to go in and walk around them every time I do that. So they get used to me. It calms them down when I'm about. There is benefits to rolling out bales. Probably good for me not being a big lazy bandit as well. You roll a bale out and they all just line up and munch it. Head down. So these bales being outside, you can see they're pretty manky and wet. Literally a wee layer in and you're into nice dry stuff. Don't get that with square bales. You do save straw with a straw blower, I know that. I don't know how much percentage wise. If you've got a straw blower and you've gone from one to the other, let me know roughly percentage wise how much straw you think you save. I'm sweating after 2 bales. Fitness levels low. It seems the view on pickups versus defenders is quite split. You're either a defender fanatic and you love them, or they're a hunk of junk to you. Grab a couple of bales. Oh, let's go and cut that piece off. Here's Kev with the splitter. He's just had the power washer, giving it a hose off. It's been sitting outside all winter. We're going to make this table just a bit bigger so it's easier for handling logs on, so just getting some measurements of it. Kev made it. It's just I-beam up the way, a couple of I-beams there, and a ram built in the middle with a big old blade on it. Works a treat. Just grease that up and it's good to go. Runs off of hydraulics off the tractor. Before we get log splitting, I'm just making up a frame so we can make the platform a lot bigger. Going to be welding onto this, so we're just going to take it off. You can just isolate the battery, but I never like doing that. I just like taking it off the machine completely. I've just tacked this frame up. I'm just going to check. This gap should be, it's a bit wonky, but yeah, 26.8 mil. And hopefully that'll match up with the width of this platform. 26 point, yeah, that'll do. Good enough for me. The almost 90 is coming in clutch. All the bird poo is down on this frame now. And then, basically, it's gonna sit like that. Somehow, magnet, that'll do it. Damn. Oh, yeah, it's hot. There we go. Weld that seam, take the clamps off, weld those seams, and then I've only got a wooden board for it now. I'm just going to put this piece of plyboard on it until we've not got any good bits of steel kicking about. That'll do for now. It's going to be inside, it's not going to be in the weather, so that'll be fine. I've made the most of that disc. I That's the platform on, just on with 4 tet screws. We'll see how it goes. Change it to steel if we ever get round to it. There's a few little bits of nail sticking up, so I'm just going to grind them out. Just getting set up in this shed. Guys, just shifting the log splitter. It just sits in the front of the tractor and you put constant flow in the oil. Last but not least, we're needing some logs. We've got a decent pile to get through. There's another wee pile around the corner, other side of that shed. We'll start at these, they'll be a bit wet and soggy. We'll see how we get on. Won't be the best. We're ready for action. We've got a few pallets set up here with a couple of sleepers. Space the sleepers a wee bit. Screw a rail in there to hold them together. And it holds the log still there, so it doesn't roll off when you're trying to cut it. And it's raised off the ground a bit, so it's a bit nicer to cut at this height rather than on the floor. So chop, 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 land them here, up onto the deck, drop them into the box. Jobs are good. Just going to lower that a wee bit and get the oil going as well. And that'll get us fired into life. Hey Doug. What are you doing? Got yourself stuck around the clutch. Should be in business now. Pull the lever. Down we go. Up we go. Happy days. What? It's not splitting the best, this. It's quite wet. You can see the moisture coming out of it. Stringy. Lovely. They're not too bad, they're a wee bit wet and stringy. When they get wet like that, these bits don't just split apart really nice and easy. They're okay, but these won't get used till next winter, so they'll give them time to dry out. They dry out quicker and better when they're split into pieces. Platform's working well. It used to just be the width of there to there, the platform, so you split something and it'll fall off the sides. And this is a lot better. Try not to crush you. Amount of logs Kev's gone to sharpen the chainsaw, but make some kindlers while I'm at it. Nothing better when you're cutting real dry hardwood. It just like pings apart. The blade just touches it and it fires apart, not like this. You have to pull it all apart, but there's some kindlers. What a miserable day. I'm not sure how this stuff will fare. Naughty stuff is always awkward, especially when it's not dry. Not bad, you can see the water coming out of it there. This is an end piece. I wasn't sure how it would fare, but the log splitter made light work of it. No idea what this is rated to, the ram. We're not far off a box full for what we just cut on that first load. Kev's gone to get some more. I've got 1, 2, 3 rounds to do, and then this box won't be far off full. Don't need to cut them mega small because they're from the farm shop, and in the shop we've got a pretty big, beefy log burner. So it takes fairly large log. You wouldn't be far off fitting this whole log in it actually. On a cold frosty morning, there's everyone's huddled around it, having a coffee and a scone. Next pile of logs. We've got some slightly better stuff now. It's a bit rotten, but it's drier. Split's nicer. A bit nicer that. Don't know how we're going to get on with this. Oh, it's splitting it. There we go. Box number 1 finished. First box done. Just going to shift out of the road and put a fresh one in. Took just over an hour and a half to do one box. Once we were all set up and had everything in place. And it's not particularly quick because the logs aren't very dry, so they're not splitting very nicely. So I think based on what we took out of that pile on that box, there could be 20 boxes in there. Maybe not quite, maybe maybe 15. Took the fent off the log splitter because more valuable hours putting hours on that than it is putting it on the New Holland. And the New Holland's not really getting used. So we can leave the splitter on it for a week until we get done, or 2 weeks, however much we get interrupted. There's a belter over there. That one, it's a beast. We'll need to hire a saw or borrow one from someone to chop that. It's got to be about 1.2 across the centre, at least. I've not picked up anything from that. Smells fantastic though. That was alright. Right, we're all done. Not because we're done, but because there's a crack on the log splitter. Here it is. So it's just cracked along the seam between the upright stanchion and the bed of the log splitter. It's cracked there before. It doesn't sit dead square the upright onto the flat bed, so it pushes at a fraction of an angle. It just creates a really high stress point in the corner of the weld, and then as soon as it cracks there a wee bit, it just starts to crack all the way along. It's pretty much the end of the day anyway, so we'll get that sorted in the morning. It's a bit of a squeeze in here. We're needing to get that trailer shifted along the road, out of the way. Log splitter, Kev's tractor, forklift, my car, Doug, and half the shed's full of coos. Anyway, cheers for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe pick up the sprayer tomorrow. The sprayer's ready to pick up. If you've not already, please like this video, please subscribe. We're shooting for 12,000, that's the next goal. Keep on.